All right, welcome back to day number 5, where we talk about the top 7 reasons why coaches give up too soon. So far, we've covered the first 4, and those are perfectionism, vagueness, uncertainty, and inconsistency. And today we're going to talk about ineffectiveness. And before I give you the definition, I just want to remind you that if, in case you haven't listened to the previous recordings, go ahead and give those a listen. We shared quite a bit of information there, and I think you're going to find it very helpful. And also go to classwithkat.com to have a listen at the class that I give in which I show you how I can predict a coach's success and what you need to do in order to change the trajectory in which you find yourself right now, especially if you are not seeing success in your business. So here's how I define ineffectiveness: is not really producing the desired result that you're after. And the overall theme of this presentation will be stop chasing fame and fast success and start adding value to your audience. But let's take a look at why coaches are ineffective. One of the reasons is because they follow multiple sets of advice for one thing. And I get it. There's people that want to, position themselves in a certain way, and they give you something that worked for them, and then someone else is doing the same thing, and you're here listening to all these different sets of advice, or even mentors that we are following at a given time. They give you advice of what worked for them, but here's the thing: just because it worked for them, it may not work for you, especially if, for example, the person is really high energy and you're more of an introvert. It's important to recognize the things that make sense for you and find the mentors and the advice that aligns with who you are and your core values. The second thing is feeling confused about what the best way to get things done is. And we talked about this briefly before, is we have all these options right now. We're no longer where we were like about 10 years ago, where we only had, a couple of ways to get things done, and it was easier to discern which way to go. But now, because there's so many software, there's so much advice, there's so much information, we really get lost and feel overwhelmed. And what I want to encourage you to do is pick one and then stick with it until you get to your result. And if you want to be on the safe side, give yourself a certain amount of time. So that way you know that you've given it your all and then it didn't work. But don't use it as an excuse not to get things done, because then it's something else. So pick one thing, stick with it until you get the result, and set up a time frame in which you're going to do that. And if it doesn't work out, move on to the next. Applying things that don't really move the needle. You have to understand what is important to you right now, right in this moment. If you're telling me that what is important to you at this moment is getting clients on calls, then writing a book might not really be the best way to go about it. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the theme was stop chasing fame and fast success. I think a lot of coaches are under the impression that if they write a book, then all of a sudden the fame of writing that book will somehow bring them clients. Yes, it's a way to be out there and to show that, you take your work seriously, that you know what you're talking about, is definitely an added bonus, but is not really what you need to focus on right now. And we talked about this previously. 3 things you need, especially if you're starting out or if you've never had a client or if you're lacking clients in your business, is to engage with people, to have conversations, to get on calls, to add value, right? Those, and here's the thing: you need a way to engage with people you need a phone or a Zoom, whatever makes sense to you, and then you need a way to take payments. That's all that's really needed. Everything else will make sense later down in the process when you're looking to scale and you're looking to add that perceived value. Being busy but not productive. This can mean things like, well, I am on calls, but are you on calls to just bond and make friends, or are you on doing those calls to get people in your program? And I notice this especially with coaches because they want to help out. They have this fear about charging money for their products and services. So they tend to be busy. Their schedule looks like it is they're doing a lot of work, but the bottom line does not reflect that. Which takes me to the next thing, not measuring progress. Once again, it's great to be out there, and especially if you're new, giving yourself a little bit of time to figure out what audience you appeal to the most, what makes sense to you. It's a good thing. But ultimately, if you want to have a business and not a hobby, you have to start measuring progress. You have to look at the things that move the needle, and you need to start implementing those daily. It's not a once in a while kind of thing. You have to be able to look at, okay, do I have the goals first and foremost? And then am I moving towards my goals? So for example, if my goal is to have 5 clients a month at, whatever amount I'm charging for my services, then if I'm not bringing $5,000 or $10,000 or $30,000 or whatever your goal is, then it means that you are not really seeing progress. And here's the thing that I want to bring along with that. We can make progress in several ways. We can grow, from the knowledge standpoint. We can grow as a person. We have growth over several areas, our life. But we are talking specifically to your coaching business, because if you're not seeing progress, you're going to get discouraged. You're gonna say that this didn't work for you, but the reason may be because you aren't really measuring progress, and the reason you're not measuring progress is because you're not really willing to take a look at it. And if you are, you're not really taking it seriously. So there's a progression of things. And I want to invite you to see where you find yourself. Like, why are you not having progress? And then why are you not measuring it? And what are you trying to get away from? Because usually there is a fear, there's something that is keeping you from moving forward. So I hope this helped you. Once again, I want to remind you to go to classwithkat.com to check out the one pattern that helps me predict coaches' success in business, and how you can take what you learned there and use it to exponentially grow your business right away. And if you found this helpful, please make sure you share with a friend, with someone that you think may need to hear this. And give me your feedback. Let me know what you thought about this. What is something that you're doing that keeps you being ineffective? And what you would like to hear more. I really would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you in day number 6.